Hey, everybody. Thanks for downloading this episode of the Black and Gold Podcast, Postgame Edition, brought to you by Appalachian Commercial Real Estate. They provide professional commercial real estate services in the Boone area. They provide sales, leasing, consulting, and appraisal services to owners and users of commercial real estate. And if you want information, there's a lot of information at their website, AppalachianCRE.com. And Charles, give them the digits to call or text James Milner.
828-719-0408.
Very good. Okay, so game number 3. This was something that we had been talking about really for a very long time, even though, we didn't have a lot to go on. Are we going to be good or not one way or the other? We had kind of circled this game against Southern Miss to be the one that will tell us the most about our team, or that would be the one where we kind of get an idea, because Charlotte, they already weren't good and they had a big coaching staff. So maybe you could have said that could have been a measuring stick of sorts before the season started. We knew Lindenwood was going to be an FCS matchup, and that should never be a measuring stick for how good we are. But that Southern Miss game, that was kind of the one. And we go into Hattiesburg, and we lose 38-22. And I tell you, that score, in watching the game, that score is pretty indicative of, like, it did get lopsided. Like, it certainly that it was the score. But I do think it told us a lot about the team and where we continue to struggle. I don't think we really learned a lot new yesterday, Charles. I don't know what your thoughts are right now.
I had several friends who were texting me, but they couldn't watch. But they were trying to keep up with it, doing other things, and they're they're box score watching, right? They're live stats watching. They're not watching the game. They're not physically watching. And I think this is the most misleading a box score can be to a final score, because or how the game played out. It's like, you read something that says AJ Swan interception, and then but you don't see how those plays unfolded. So clear. I mean, a lot of us, everybody on here has watched. If you're listening, more than likely you have. But when you look at the box score, we can talk about the things that we haven't done well all season, right? Such as penalties and not finishing at the goal line, etc. And yesterday, actually, we did a much better job than Southern Miss on the flags by two whole penalties. I mean, and Southern Miss only had 8 penalties have been called on them all year. They got 9 yesterday or last night. So, but the problem here is, we go and run 90 plays and we average 5.2 yards per play. Southern Miss ran 56 plays at 6.9 yards per play. So they really capitalized on the fact that they were able to spread us out, and we couldn't get anybody to make many open field tackles outside of Colton Ferris. Now, people are probably sitting there saying, that's not exactly what I thought Big C was going to talk about at all, because the glaring things that happened in this game, if you watched, those don't really need to be discussed, because it seems as if this team has got some type of snake bite around them. And we continue to step on the snake pit and get bitten every single game, because the same thing has happened that led us to, from last week to this week, and really the week before, is that not finishing. Scores could be worse, should be worse, and it's because of our own fault. It literally comes down to it. We sat here and talked about, let's not have another fumble at the goal line. Man, all those plays pretty much were last night.
Yeah. There's no difference.
3 times inside the 5-yard line, no points. We had 6 drives last night that were over 62 yards, and we only got touchdowns on 3 of them. So we ran the plays. We were getting what we wanted. We were dictating our pace, and we were on the field, and they were on the field a whole lot longer than we were. That's exactly what you want, is the other team to have to defend 90 times in that heat, but they were accustomed to it, right? And outside of our first drive on defense, I felt like Southern Miss could do what they wanted to us for the most part. a negative play here or there, but it wasn't consistent enough. And I think there's a lack of consistency on defense to an extent, and clearly on offense, the problem is just finishing, and that is just something I just really couldn't believe, when I saw what they did. I think all these interceptions they have their own flukiness to them, but at some point they're not flukes. At some point
I didn't see that way.
It's what it is, and that's what you got.
Yeah. I didn't see it at flukes at all. I saw a bad play. And I thought of you last night, Charles, watching in the first quarter. There was I don't remember who it was. I think it was Folks. And Foles. I'm sorry, I said Folks. Foles. Just drop a first down ball. Just drop it. Just hit him in the hands. Just dropped it. That's first down. Now you say, what? What are you talking about? 3 interceptions. We're talking about a first down. But it became a little contagious. The playmakers on offense, I think there are 2 stand out. Debinion certainly runs hard. That balance contact thing, that's getting a little, okay, great. He's got balance contact. Jaden Barnes is a dog. He gets up there and he's a playmaker. He's a small guy, but he's 10 catches, 132 yards and a touchdown. Not a lot. You can turn your nose up at right there. Past that, like in Stroman, I want to give Stroman some credit. Isaiah Cummings had some, but here's the ultimate problem though. Our quarterbacks are like when Coach Loggins, and now we kind of know what the comments of, well, no one has really taken the starting job yet. Now we know what that means, don't we? Well, no one's taking the job. Well, no one's playing well, I think is that's the way that's the way I see it, is if this is what we have here, and it's like it was a really tough call to the last day, and then we haven't seen, this is kind of what it is. Now the sample size is becoming larger. Missed throws. Now Swan wasn't helped out with some of those drops, like I said, but that's not the glaring issue as to why this game got out of whack. Was we're moving down the field, advancing the ball, having really no problem getting down to the goal line, to the end zone. Like, this looks good, and sweet, a little fluid, getting down there. Interception. That ball that kind of skidded on the ground, and he kind of had to pick it up and throw it. There was no reason that shouldn't have been thrown. It shouldn't have been thrown like that. I think when you basically are fielding a ground ball like in baseball as a quarterback, I think you panic. I think that's probably what happened. Oh, I got to get rid of this. But that and people could say about the Debinion, the fluke, like bounced off his hands and popped up for the interception. They can say that was a fluke. I look at it a little different. That was already a really bad throw. You had your wide receiver out there in the flat having to dive forward to even catch the ball. Already a bad throw. And so when you have bad throws, bad things, the probability of more bad things happening increase. And so you already are like, you're running back. You're not throwing just a skilled receiver trying to make a tough catch. You're throwing a design pass out here to the sideline to try to get him in the end zone. He has to dive for it, bounces off it. Now the bounce off the hand thing, of course, that was weird and fluky. It's like, there's no way that didn't hit the turf. It didn't. That's crazy. But it's just another poor play is what that was. It wasn't I hit in stride and it hit the right time and it popped up. Like, that's more like, man, that's unfortunate. But it was a result of like a poor play. And then that third interception was like, there's just it just is what it was. And Coach Loggins has been pretty pointed. He gave like a minute recap, I guess, with Brett there in the tunnel after the game. And he's like, 3 interceptions inside the 7-yard line. Not going to cut it. And like, well, that's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in, right? I mean, that's the story. And you keep doing that. And I don't care how good your defense is. And the defense, certainly, this is the biggest challenge they had last night. And Loggins did mention this, and I think it's true. I think for anybody that watched it, they kept us off balance. They threw different things at us. Braylon Braxton, played a pretty good game, and we helped them so much. We helped them so much, and you could say, well, just on the other side of this, if we just stop making mistakes. And my perspective is do we have the capacity to stop making these mistakes? That's the
No,
concern
that's
now
what I'm
that I
afraid
have.
that's what I'm super afraid of is that
Right.
if we haven't, whether you have 3 weeks to fix it or not, and it's not being fixed, and the same things are coming up week to week. This is what you have.
What
It's
you got?
incapable, or whatever. If you just don't have the dudes, you don't have the dudes, and it doesn't feel
Yeah.
like we have enough dudes. And now on top of that, and we'll get into. I'll talk a little bit more about quarterback play. I think it's very important. On top of that, we're like dudes are getting like taken off the field, right? So AJ Swan gets hurt. We won't know the extent of that for 2 weeks. Offensive linemen, we had 2 freshman tackles in at some point. Ethan Johnson gets hurt, and these are like recognizable names. Oh gosh, like you can't lose the guys that I think I said this a couple years ago when we had such an injury bug. So you can't lose the guys on the poster. Well, we didn't put anybody on the poster this year, but if you made one and
That
you
would have
put
been like a
guys on
2
them,
We can't do that.
exactly. You don't know who's on our team. But that's just it's not good. It's not good, and I think one of the major concern here is AJ Swan's hurt. JJ Cole is hurt or is not the number 2.
Yeah.
People kept saying on social media last night, third string quarterback. I'm like, we have we assumed that he's
How do you know?
How do you know? JJ Cole came in and start a game doesn't mean he's number 2. I mean, Gillen played more than Cole has this year, so is Gillen the number 2? Billy Wiles has played more.
Rubber meets the road. Noah Gillen's the second string. Yeah.
Yeah. Billy Wiles has played more than JJ Cole has this year. Is he the number 3? So I think at any point in time, you're 2-1, 0-3, 3-0, you name it. If you've seen 4 quarterbacks play in 3 games, you got a problem.
Huge problem.
You got a big problem.
Did you see Swan get hurt? Did you see what happened to him?
Yeah, he got hit. He does have this tendency, which I think is good as a big quarterback. He stands in there, and we've mentioned that he stands in there. He delivers that throw. He'll take a beating, and that's a situation where he took a beating, and he got his knee was wrapped. It looked like from what I could see on the sideline too, when he was not playing and didn't have his pads on, that like he had a significant limp, but he didn't have a brace on it or anything.
Ice on his knee. I saw there's a picture. He had ice on his knee at one point.
So I think the bigger question here is: was that a convenient injury, or was that kind of like a benching?
Well,
right. So it looks like, hey, was that a possibility that was going to happen anyway? And we won't know. We won't know because we don't know what Log would have done here because we haven't seen that him have to deal with that. I think anyone who in their right mind would see their starting quarterback throw 3 interceptions in the first half would say, man, maybe somebody else needs to play.
True.
Right. Fluky or not, but you can't, and everybody knows this. You can't, more times than not, like the quarterback's going to fall on that ball and just fight to play another down, or throw that ball out of the end zone on that first interception. But he just threw it toward the direction, not really had a good framework there, kind of back-footed it a little.
Looked a little panicked.
And then the DB just turned around at the right time and it landed
right there at him. Yeah.
Right, I still don't believe the Binion play. I not enough camera angles. I don't think. It could have happened. But I think it just looks like it. It looks like that ball probably bounced off the turf to me.
Yeah.
But then again, like you were saying, that's a bad pass that caused that.
It's a bad pass. Yeah.
And then
shouldn't have even been in that position.
Yeah, late on the third one, didn't see the corner coming over. Didn't even look like the dude was open. Honestly, didn't feel like there was enough separation.
No,
but yeah.
So that's a great, that's a great question. Like, was this convenient? Was he going to get benched anyway? That's a great question because I don't know. I will say this. I think what's frustrating about watching AJ Swan is there are moments he looks really good. Look, his body language looks good. He's this tall presence, this big presence. When he makes a good throw, he makes it look good. It's that, man, when the great thing about being close to the end zone and the red zone, the great thing, there's not a lot of field left. The bad thing is there's not a lot of field left. There's less room for error. It's a conundrum. You're close to where you can score, but the defense also is occupying more space, and you just there's little room for mistakes, and that has been the Achilles heel. And that's certainly that was the story yesterday is getting down there. Oh Lord, I mean, in within 21 points in our grasp, and just bad play, and that's what it was. It wasn't taken away. It wasn't like, oh well, they made it. It was bad play that gave it away, and that's not fun to say. I don't take joy in saying that, but like, I only have two eyes. I will say this: Gillen did not look better than AJ Swan, but he's like he was at prom like a year ago, or like earlier this year. He was going to prom, so like I'm not gonna sit there and dog on this true freshman. And then also you got to think of this. This would be interesting to know from like an offensive lineman. When you see your starting quarterback is down and hurt, and you got a 19-year-old who the last time he played a game was in high school in Mississippi. Doesn't that kind of like, isn't that a demoralizing situation to be in? You're already down. You're bringing in this true freshman. To me, that you're going one of two ways. You get amped up and say, hey, we gotta come together now, or you're just kind of like, it's all coming apart. And it looked like it came apart yesterday. I still do not think that this team has quit. I like the effort on both sides of the ball. We got outplayed yesterday. Our defense got outplayed because of how our offense played. I think.
Right.
I think that they put us in a position to you can only take so much. You can only overcome so much. And I don't remember what it was, Charles. Let me go back to this Gamecast thing. Actually, let me go to the play-by-play here, because it was within our grasp. Like, let's see here. At halftime, it's 17-7. I mean, that
it's not, the game wasn't over late.
No. Right.
It really wasn't. It kind of just, we were still kind of in it, and just not being able to move the ball enough well in the second half with a defense that understood that there was a freshman quarterback, and it took like 2 or 3 plays to watch him and say, hesitant, not stepping up. Things went bad fast.
Yeah, they did.
And so they just said, all right, we're just going to keep doing the same thing we were doing all game long, which is crashing the edges and going after the ball. Yeah. Go after the ball. We'll worry about whether it gets somewhere else at some point. But there just wasn't enough to keep up. It just wasn't.
With 13 and a half minutes left in the fourth quarter, we missed a field goal that would have, if you make it, the score is 24-17.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think
so. Go ahead, Charles.
Oh, no, you go ahead. Sorry.
No. I mean, I just think that speaks for itself. I mean, we were in a position to keep it within a touchdown at the very start of the fourth quarter. And at that point, like, you're kind of, everybody's back in. It's like, all right, man, we've made some huge mistakes. We're getting beat up a little bit. The momentum and the juice certainly on the Southern Miss side. But now, okay, it's no longer a 2-possession game. See what the defense can do and then get back to it. But then from that missed field goal, it just all spun and was what it was. And then it was kind of over after that.
I think there was some discussion, or may have been some discussion about whether or not we should kick it from there or not. And I think in that spot, we had to. We needed some boost of some sort. And if we would have made that field goal and gotten 3 points out of there, you're thinking, okay, now it's a 1-possession ball game. Now Southern Miss is really feeling the pressure, and it's like, hey, now positive things happen for us, and we can take that and maybe get a spark. Not the end of the world. It's probably a very coin flip situation there, but I think because we had a freshman in there at that point in time, that's kind of what we had to do. I think if Swan was in there, maybe that decision to kick or go for it would have been different. But that pretty much sealed it. From there, I thought the onside kick was a brilliant decision. Obviously, Southern Miss was not lined up, and we obviously saw that on tape. Like, we were like, hey, that's something we can use on them. Brilliant call. Couldn't get anything out of that possession. That stunk.
Yeah.
DJ Burks had an incredible interception. Like, couldn't get anything out of that. So even when we got the smallest of breaks last night, and things bounced our way, we couldn't capitalize. But we were still in that game. It felt like we were getting handled just because of how much like the mistakes we were making. Like, we should be. It was kind of one of those seesaw things. It's like, man, we are playing good enough to be ahead, and we have moved the football. We should have scored more. We should be in the lead. And at the same time, you sat there and said, and yes, it could be a whole lot worse, and it should be a whole lot worse. So credit to the team for hanging in there as long as they could. I mean, 38-22 looks lopsided. Don't get me wrong. They still gave up close to 40 points and all that. But we were right there for a long time. And when you get to the situation where you are, and, there's just not a lot you can do. There's going to be lots of question marks on quarterback play, quarterback availability. I wonder if, what went on in the decision-making process of, all right, JJ is available but not ready. So he's technically the 4 today. Maybe that's what happened. Or maybe he really wasn't available at all. But then going to Gillen before Billy Wiles, who's actually played in college and played on that field, and whether he was good at it or not, or the team was good, he's been there. It's familiar to him. It's an experience. And then to see Wiles come in, both Wiles and Gillen are the only 2 people on the roster from quote unquote Mississippi. Gillen's from there. He was made a captain, and so was Billy Wiles. He was also made a captain before kickoff, which I thought was a little bit of a mind game there. But I guess we got in a position where, like, hey, we're going to play them both, and you never want that. You never need 3 quarterbacks playing in a game. That's not going to bode well usually.
No.
And another heavy workload for DeBinion, over 20 carries, but it's just
they keep saying it's interesting. It's like, we're giving the ball too much. It's like, all right, here's another 25 carry night.
Right. And that's another thing. It's like, we've given him too much. All right. So what else has Log said that he said he was unhappy with? He said after the Charlotte game, he said, I was mad, upset we lost the fourth quarter. They outscored us in the fourth quarter. We haven't won a fourth quarter yet. We've been outscored in every fourth quarter, even by Lindenwood. So we're starting to get this, like, hey, you can't wish things to happen, right? And whatever changes, adjustments were made in practice, and all that, sometimes you just don't have it. And and this is going to sound pretty sour after a loss, right? We're all feeling a little down, but we all understood what happened. But there was a lot of just ugly yesterday. Starting to
ugly follows ugly, doesn't it? I mean, it just kind of gets contagious.
I've had enough of Braylon Braxton. Hopefully never play him again. And I'm starting to not dislike Charles Huff too. I thought early in the game, here's the sour grapes. I thought there was some late hits. I thought there was some touchy calls that we got and they didn't. But it was kind of like the old Carolina basketball thing where they only call fouls on the other team in the second half, and it all looks like it evens up. It's like, look, everybody had, or any basketball game, everybody, look, there was 17 fouls called on both teams. Like, but the ones you called on us were always while they were shooting, so they went to the free throw line, and the ones you called on them were always like touch fouls, and it didn't matter, and it was inconsequential to the play. That's not the same,
So it was ugly, Charles. I agree with you, but I still say, like, if I'm trying to, like, keep on my clear glasses and, like, look, bad quarterback play, insufficient quarterback play, I think is the reason we are where we are. Drops,
and bad is tough. Bad's a tough word. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt right here.
Because
like you said earlier, it's like in flashes he looks good.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like inconsistent, just not, these passes that are somewhat behind, the receiver gets their hands on the ball and they pop it up, really on the field, whatever. But at some point, you got to either make the quarterback look bad for throwing a bad ball, which I know that this goes on in lots of other places, or you got to get your hands on it and catch it and do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And I'm not questioning effort at all, but decision making is big.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I don't like saying that either. I mean, bad quarterback play. It just kind of is what it is, though. Even there, I noticed there's a play with Cummins out to the left, and a good throw to him in stride. Maybe he advances up the field a little bit more. He has to jump. He bobbles it a little bit. It was not an accurate throw. And then even in that particular moment, and he's bobbling it, I thought, well, what if that gets intercepted?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have the linebacker crashing down. He's up there bobbling it. It's like, well, what if it? And that's what I'm saying. Bad throws beget bad things, right? And but there are and I like his attitude. Like I like his attitude. I like the way he carries himself physically. But there have been some really painful, consequential moments. And it drives, Logan's crazy. And you can only say, well, we got to tighten that up. Yeah, I mean you do. But until we can get better, smarter, protection of the football in the passing game, because you are going to throw interceptions will be thrown. You're not going to avoid them. Like there is that's why they call them arm punts. Sometimes you need to take a risk with something downfield, and whatever, you get interception on their 30, okay, whatever. But man, 3 inside the 7 is absolutely brutal. Because that there were probably other plays or other ways that we could get in the end zone, and we didn't have to rely on that particular throw. So
let me go back to something real quick, and it may not have time to get to it.
I'll go for it. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm
what down was it when we threw the first interception?
Good question. Let's look at it.
It was 2nd and 4 from the 4. Okay.
Yeah.
The second one, that was in the second quarter, right?
Oh,
that made it 7. Did that made it 17-7, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That was on 3rd and goal at the 4.
It was 3rd and goal. Okay. At the 4.
Yeah.
Oh man. Actually, it says 3rd and 7. So, nope. No, that was, and so the third one was a 3rd and 7 from the 7. So all goal to go situations. All right, it wasn't what I thought it was, but still. But yeah, it says in the box score, AJ Swan injured on the play. After that, so.
Oh, I don't see that. Where does it say he's injured on the play? On that 3rd interception?
Yeah, 3rd interception, 3rd and 7 from the 7.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about this too, now that we're talking about it? Have you felt this year, again, sample size is very small, we've played 3 games, that if we're in like a really short yardage situation, like on a 4th down, like, do you have confidence that we can convert on really short yardage situations, just need a yard, maybe 2?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I do too. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I do too. So like, we're down there, and maybe in the past, maybe the last couple of years, you think, like, I just don't have hope. Like, we get in 4th and 1, like I'm sweating, right? Like, let's do something, pull out the tricks or whatever. But now I'm like, when I see those turnovers on 2nd down and 3rd down, it's like, man, protect the ball, because I think we can get it in here. Like, I'm confident that just protect the ball, make a good play, and I think one way or the other we're gonna get a score here. Anyway, I don't know. I'm splitting hairs at this point, but we got to stop giving the ball over. Got to stop messing around at the red zone. I mean, that's the story of the game. That's why we lost. We lost because we gave the ball up in moments where it should have been a score, and it was taken from us. And in one of those moments, it was actually converted from a score for us to directly a score for them. And that's just what it is, folks. I mean,
yeah, that was the big thing. I mean, that was the big deflating moment. Was
yeah,
it not only was whatever the play was, we want to call it fluke, you want to call it what actually happened,
it was super fluky. Yeah, I
but
mean, yeah,
being in that situation to possibly take the lead to then going down 10 is a massive swing. Yeah, 100-yard interception. You feel like you're about to have a ball game. It's going to be back and forth all game long, and then that was just we were chasing from there. And it didn't help.
and then
he was
yeah.
hurt. Yeah. But we had a freshman quarterback who didn't have a lot of college playing experience coming in to fill that time. So
it was rough. And another thing is, and we know this, everybody listening to this knows this, but when you do have the lead, when you're in front, in that way, you are dictating what you can do, how you run the offense, what plays you call to control the clock, to keep the ball away from them. I mean, you just have a position of power. It's like having the higher ground. And so we didn't even help ourselves in that way too, to go ahead and make a lead. It's different to, be up 24-14 and throw a pick and like, dadgummit, we still have the lead, we still come from a position of power, but to be down, when was that third interception? Yeah, that third one, we were down 24-7 and we threw that third one. It's like, that's like, ugh, okay. But we still fought back. Like I said, folks, still fought back. We still got, like I said, we were in a position to make it a 1-touchdown game at the start of the fourth. And that's why I think that, like, again, we need to isolate. So what?
it was still 20. It was still 27. It was still 17-7 at that point because it was
That's the third
17-7.
interception?
Yes, it was 17-7 and a half.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, and
I read
Swan,
the wrong one. This is when Braxton threw the interception. My bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
Okay. Yeah, my bad. I misread that on the thing here. So, okay. Yeah. So, but still, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, in a position to make it a 1-touchdown, we were in that spot. And football's crazy. Football's just a crazy sport where the final scores, they do and don't indicate, what's going on. But ultimately, yeah, that's where the sore spot is: interceptions and not executing at the end zone, in the red zone. If you take that, if you were better at that, if we are better at that, then we're not having these conversations, because we still were super bad at it, super bad at it. And still in the fourth quarter, we're so close to being it just a 1-touchdown game. And you can't tell. This isn't the NFL where, the margin for error. So this is college football. And if you're only down by a touchdown at the very beginning of the fourth quarter, sorry, you are more than in it. You are like, you just are. Sorry, you are. So in that way, that's my like silver lining, is in that way, okay, we were in a position in the fourth quarter to make it super competitive, even though Gillen was, we had that true freshman in there, and even though we had really played, really shot ourselves in the foot with a shotgun, 3 times in the first half, still put ourselves in a position to be competitive at that point. So that's, man, I mean, I think anything else is like maybe not quite splitting hairs, but you're not really focused on the real problem.
Yeah.
So, but we said this like 20 minutes ago. What if there is not the capacity to really truly tighten that up? Like, what if that just, we're going to have to go in every game with, we like it when we like it, we don't when we don't. That remains to be unseen. I think it's a great week. How about this? It's a great week for a bye week, right? To come back from your first road trip, work on some stuff, get healed up, go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the best. That's the best we can hope for at this point. Is that what a better time for it, But at the same time, like we got the next game is in Boise. It's not an easy trip.
Nope.
And it is a road game, and we just saw what we did on the road. You know,
Road games are tough.
and so that's difficult. Boise was actually off this week, so they're still 1-1, and they have who they have next? Air Force?
That's a good
I think
question.
that's right. I think that's right. And then Oregon State's 0-3. They're 0-3, and they've got Oregon next. They'll lose that one, and then they play Houston, and they'll be underdogs in that one as well. So Oregon State could be coming to the Rock 0-5. Will that tell us anything? Even if they're 1-4, will that tell us anything? If we were to win that game or lose that game, like
that's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, tell us something. I mean, I don't know. I think we would. I think we know more from the Southern Miss game, than we would from a potentially 0-5 Oregon State team coming across the country. I don't know. It's me. I see that Boise beat Eastern Washington. Yeah, that's not.
that was last week, and that was ugly.
Yeah. So playing a 1-1 Air Force before we head to town. Okay. Well, we do have a bye week. We got some stuff to clean up. Got some injuries to heal up. Do we know? Has anything been released on Thomas Davis and Jaden Ramsey on their injuries?
I think Davis went to the locker room and did not return. I could be wrong, but I was, trying to
look pretty bad.
Yeah, it didn't look good. Did not look good.
I hate that. I need to stop talking about players on here because I said hopefully he's gonna have the best year he's ever had here, and then he gets hurt. So I need to pump the brakes, keep the good. Of course, I'm being superstitious, and that has nothing to do with anything. But
it's tough. He was on Mountain Air Talk this week. Good guest. And I just hope that's not the end of his season.
Yeah, same. So we'll figure out this injury stuff. I guess they have to report it for conference games. But
so we won't know anything until maybe you'll get a presser tomorrow, right, on Monday. I would imagine, even though we have a bye week, but I wouldn't expect to get any. I would be surprised if we got information tomorrow.
Yeah, I would be too. All right, Charles, anything else?
I think we've hit it.
No? I agree. Okay, well, for everybody that's listened and downloaded this episode of the podcast, thank you so much. And thanks to Appalachia Commercial Real Estate for sponsoring the post-game episodes. And until our episode this week, go Apps.